Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning.
A podcast where we share with you great insights about everything family from over 30 years of parenting 7 kids and over a decade of equipping parents through our Crazy Cool Family ministry.
So let us inspire and equip you to build your best family. Hey, all you crazy cool families out there, parents, welcome to season 6. We are talking about relationships, and we just thought it would be really fun to have Mollie and Madeline join us today, and we're going to just talk about that mother-son relationship, the relationship that women have raising mighty men of God. So welcome to the podcast, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so as we talk about little boys, I just wanted to share just briefly in my journey along the way of raising boys, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember realizing I do not have what it takes as a female to raise a male, in that I do not have the experience base, the knowledge of what it means to be a boy. I don't think like a boy. I don't act like a boy. And when my little boys were acting like and thinking like boys, I did not know what to do with them. And I just remember the Lord very distinctly saying that it takes a man to raise a man. That we have to have it. We have to have the influence of men and our little men's lives. And the scripture of Proverbs 27:17 is iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And while I know that applies to us as women, that we sharpen each other, it really meant to me, I feel like the Lord said, you need men in your life to sharpen your sons. And so part of that is my husband. Part of that's coaches, teachers, mentors, accountability partners. And so that's kind of what I learned as I was raising my boys. I could be a lot of things for my boys, but I couldn't turn them into men. Mm-hmm. And I did one more thing before I hand it over to you guys. I know that my daughters, Mollie, Madeline, Mason, McKenzie, the four sisters to my boys, helped them become conscientious, noticing, courteous, kind, helpful men. But y'all didn't necessarily, y'all helped them be tough too. I remember y'all saying, you're being a wimp, don't cry about that. And so anyway, okay, so talk to me a little bit, girls. What's been your experience raising a man?
Do you want to go first?
Nope.
I always do this to me. I don't really know what I'm going to say, so this could be really bad. It just come out. But this is Mollie.
That's the best, though.
Maybe. This is Mollie, and I have Sebastian Bash, and he will be 5 in like 2 months, I guess, April. And then I'm pregnant with another little boy. And so, that's like where I'm at, I guess. And I don't really have like what's different, but he is super emotional. So my husband is one of the, I don't know if I would say lucky, but God-given, just steady as a rock, and Bash and I are not. And so it's been interesting to like partner with Damien in that sense, because I do think that the mom brings a more relational aspect.
That's good.
To the table than the dad does, and I think that that's God-given. And so for us, at least, the relational aspect goes a little bit farther because Bash is emotional like me. And so a conversation that Damien and I have a lot right now is I always just tell Damien, I'm like, well, did you think about his day? He had like a hard day at school, and I think he's probably pretty hungry, and I already told him no a lot today, so like maybe don't get on to him. And Damien is just like, he's manipulating you. He is smart. Like, he can't be super smart and know all his ABCs and count to 100 and also not be super smart and not know how to not get in trouble, you know? And so
or get what he wants from
you.
What he
wants, yeah. And so I think for us, it's just, we've just been trying to, like, if you have an emotional son, I don't know, maybe your husband is more emotional and you are not, but just kind of calling it out and acknowledging it, that their actions might be more dictated by their emotions than by the, like, truly what's happening in that moment. And then how do you then, because you can't just let them run all over you. So that's kind of been our, like, where we're at a little bit, is that Bash is just super emotional and he just cries immediately, or he feels really embarrassed, or he takes it really hard and he'll come run to me. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at least with Bash.
And so I love that. So as mamas, we get our sons, we get them. And one of the things I wanted to highlight that you said, Molly, is that we are relational.
Yeah.
As females, we are wired to be more relational. I mean, it's no small thing that we are given small men, that they are tiny newborns when they grow up, and that we get to relate to them. It's almost like we get to teach them how to be relational.
Right.
But I do think the part that you said that I want to bring out as well is that Damien, he's got Bash's number. Our husbands have our son's number. They know. I mean, just like we have our daughter's numbers, and we know, oh, honey, you're being so manipulated right now. I mean, so it's the same thing. So I just want to open up the concept and the idea to ask your husband for help, and to listen. And when he gives you advice, exactly, respect it and honor it, because he's coming from a male perspective that we as females just do not have.
Yeah, Damien's always like, wow, babe, you're so nice. Bash, you have such a nice mom. And it's very simple things. Like, it's not like I'm just over the top, because I'm pretty, like, just a little bit, I don't know, I just feel like I'm kind of like, get over yourself. But Damien just always, you're so nice to him.
We always laugh about Truett is my 5-year-old, and he wants to be a professional sports player. And my husband and I always laugh about how, like, the professional sports players always give their moms a shout out.
Yes.
They never say, thank you, Dad. We love you, Dad. They're like, Mom, I'm buying you a house. I love you, Mom. I love you. You're my best mom, And then we think, I'm like, that's so valuable. It's so funny to us. We're like, the dads are actually who are out there coaching them, training them, raising them, like
doing
being
all
these
the drills.
Yeah.
Teaching them to be tough and a man and get over the loss.
Yeah, and the moms just like love them.
Yeah.
And then that's what, like, the little boys' hearts are just for their mamas at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Something we're learning is raising a little boy. One, we both have little boys, and so I don't have no idea what it's gonna like. Mom, you can talk about maybe in another podcast raising older boys, but just to let everyone out there know, I feel very like it's gonna I don't feel equipped yet on what it's gonna be like to raise a 11, 12, 13-year-old boy in this current world.
You know what? Don't underestimate, because you raised your brothers.
Well, we raised them 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It just feels.
I feel like all I can contribute to that is I just told Maddox, don't cuss. It's not cool. That's my only thing I'll take.
And we told them not to wear this, like, red on red or blue on blue. Like, don't wear the same. Don't like change your shirt from your top.
Shorts and t-shirt. Yeah.
Anyway, but something we're learning about is I have a son and then 2 daughters. And I'm working on training him, and then Truett is at home with me, so they're all 3 at home with me, and I'm homeschooling them. But just working on training him what it looks like to be a man in a context of a woman, how to open the door for them and serve them and take care of them. And so working to empower him of like, hey, Juliet, my youngest, climbs on everything. She's stuck on the coffee table. Can you go get her down for me? Or, hey, will you take Everly's laundry to the washing machine and serve her? Or, hey, whenever we like get ready for bed, they like run to the bathroom, and we always let Everly go first because she's the girl. And so just like working on teaching him as
manners as a male.
Open the door, serve the girls. You are a guy. Like, just kind of letting him know some different like roles to like honor and serve. And then also some common sense things, like if he walks into a room looking for something and it's right in front of his eyes and he comes out and says, Mom, I can't find it, then we go back in there and I say, yes, you can. I see it. I want you to find it. There's just some things that I think that we like joke about with like the men that like as a mom you actually have the opportunity to like teach them.
Like you might have to move something to find it versus it's emasculating to tell your husband that, but you can train your sons in that.
Or including him in cooking. I'm like we're like, it was whatever, making a chicken the other day and we were taking out the what are the gross parts called? The guts. Yeah. And so I'm like, get your hand in there and take it out. This is grossing me out, And so he's like getting his hand in there and taking it out and then putting salt and pepper on it, teaching him a little bit how to cook, just like including him maybe in some roles that are like not manly roles, or just teaching him how to be like a courteous, kind man.
Well, and so one of the things that makes me think about that for two is how do we teach our sons to be brave, strong men? Is one of the easiest, best ways is any bug that comes into your house. You have to teach them. And the other day I was talking to Sebastian, and he's like, I am very scared of
cockroaches. But it's my fault. I take the blame. I'm terrified of them.
She trained him to be scared of cockroaches, and I was like, "Here's the deal, buddy. I mean, right now you're almost 5, and so you can be scared of cockroaches, but when you're 6 and 7, you're going to have to be the brave one, and you're going to have to kill them because I don't want to." And I'm like, "Yes, but they're not." And so, but that was Michael with spiders. Michael was terrified of spiders, and I was like, "Buddy, you have to kill the spiders. You're going to be the man of your house someday. You're going to have a wife and a bunch of little girls, and none of them are going to kill the spider. You have to kill the spider." And so that's one of the great, I love that, Madeline, all the different things you're teaching. Yeah, the small things.
But
it's just
also,
a way, it's just a way as a mom in your home, if you're like, how do I raise a man to be strong and mighty? You don't necessarily, that can be the dad's role, and you can empower them to be strong and mighty, but you can raise them to be someone who is conscientious and kind and a servant heart.
From a woman's perspective.
You can raise them to be a holistic man.
Yeah. Well, and too, like with the bug thing, Bash brought it back up in the car on the way home because that's also very Sebastian. He remembers everything and has multiple follow-up questions to clarify. And
now, how do I have to be mom when I kill
how many more days until I'm 7 and I have to kill a cockroach? I was like, oh gosh, dude, ask Pops that math. But Mom actually taught us this, and I don't even know if she taught us this with our brothers or if she actually taught us this in counseling us with our husbands, but it's like make them feel like the hero. Get them on your team. Bash's little demeanor changes completely when I say to him, go do your laundry. I need you to go do it. I've asked you to do it 100 times. Go sort your laundry and put all your socks in the right place. He doesn't want to do it. But when I say, we have 20 minutes till Dad gets home, we're going to set a timer. I've been trying to put this laundry all day up, and I just can't do it without you. I need you to be my helper. He's like, okay, and then, we'll do it. Or it's like, let me race. I'll do my laundry, you do your own laundry. Or, oh my gosh, Bash, I cannot kill that bug. Be my hero, step in and take care of it for me. And for some reason the littlest things, like it changes their, like, they're made to, like, take care of and protect.
Exactly.
And so
it's
if you call that out
them.
in them, with even the littlest things, it seems like they're more on board than just to be nagged, which no man nor any human, but especially men, want to be nagged.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I do think that that is a hard line to walk as a mom because we are the protector of our children, and so to give up that role, if you will, to the small boy is very powerful, very, very good. Okay, so I have a question for you. What has been the hardest thing about raising a son? What do you find that's been hard? I remember for me when they were small, is their energy didn't match my energy, and they could literally lap the house. And I had 4 little girls first, and y'all didn't do that. Y'all would be in the kitchen with me, or y'all would sit down and color with me. And it was radically different than the little boys. They've just got a radically different energy.
Yes.
So that was hard for me. What's been hard?
For me, probably just like diving into the things that excite him. Like, so for Truett, he is obsessed with sports. And so this year I've made it a point to know the sports teams, all the football teams that he knows, and know their coaches and know some of their players.
To know the rules of the game.
Know the rules, to be able to converse with him about he's like, the Chargers this, or what do you think about the 49ers defense? He's asking me these kind of questions, He's like, they're
Next
looking
level,
really good.
Madeline. I never
she's
did
not
that.
making this up. He's like this.
He's asking me do you think that seriously, who do you think? Do you think the Ravens are going to be in the Super Bowl? Yes or no, Mom? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the Ravens. I don't know anything about the Ravens, but we're talking about it, and I made it a point to learn the things he's interested about. But that's been hard for me because for my girls, they're interested in babies, and they're asking me about cooking and kitchen and cleaning and all the things that I'm just normally doing. My daughter Everly just wants to make sourdough bread with me every day, and Truett could care less about it. Truett's
I'm already
let's
doing
go
that.
play
It's
football
great.
outside,
Yeah.
And so just making it a point to it. It's been hard to enjoy the things that he enjoys naturally, but it's been worth it when I do. When I go out there and okay, let's run routes. I'm going to Google some football routes, and you're going to run them, and I'm going to throw you the ball,
Well, and it worked out really nicely because when Truett first joined the family, he was obsessed with basketball. And Madeline was actually, got newcomer of the year one year playing basketball. So she actually knows how to do basketball. And so that was fun. But when she switched to football, you've had to up your game.
Yeah. Soccer, I know nothing about. And so we're trying to delay knowing a lot about soccer at this point.
He's such a good soccer player, though.
Like that one, too. So that's been hard, is knowing his interests and then also like taking the time to pursue them.
Yeah.
Because they're not the things, like relationally it feels harder because it's not the thing that I would naturally go to or think about or want to even necessarily know about. But it's valuable for me and him relationally for me to have that like place to be able to know him in that little space.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. I only have a son, and I'm only going to have another son. So I get the privilege of being pretty close to watching Evie and Jules and, Selah and Alice, and have a lot of nieces.
So you have built-in comparison.
Yeah, built-in comparison a little bit. And I'm grateful for that, because even when Madeline was talking about taking care of Evie, we try to see them pretty frequently, but Bash doesn't have a girl in his life. And so for the first day, Bash is like pretty rude to Evie or just non-existent to her, and then after he's with her, he's like, oh, this is how I treat a girl. So I'm grateful for that. But so I'm trying to think about the hardest, because it's kind of all I know. But I think for me it goes into a question that we might talk about later, but it's like the long-term thought process. That's how I'm wired. I think pretty long-term about things in life. And like a lot of times Damien will be like, I know you're taking this moment to 5 years from now, but we're not living then. So even like when
God hasn't given you what you need yet for that.
Yeah, but even like I'll say sometimes to Damien, I'll say like, if you continue to do that, it's going to affect your relationship long-term. And Damien's like, thank you for that insight, but let's just be 4 years old, And so I think the hardest thing for me is kind of what Mom said earlier, is I am a girl. So I felt the struggles of the world as a girl. I see the struggles of the world as a girl. I serve, with student girls. I have sisters, and I can like rein that in. I can add wisdom. I can add revelation to the aspects of being a godly woman. But when it comes to being a boy or a man, it's like, is there going to be a lack, is there going to be something that he's going to miss out on, or he's not going to fully understand, or he's going to be unprepared for, or even just like coming up in moments right now where I'm like, I have nowhere to go in this conversation. I have nowhere to go. I don't know how to handle this. I know how I would handle it for me, but maybe that's not the best thing for him. And so it's only hard if you don't let the Holy Spirit give you discernment, or it's only hard if you're like at the end of your rope and you're just trying to act out of your own parenting. But I think for me, it's just like this long-term, burden isn't the right word, but just this long-term like carrying of raising a man, and that I am a woman. And I have Damien and I have Dad, and he has a lot of all his uncles he's obsessed with, but it starts in the home, and it starts with the person that's primarily with him, and that's me. So it's like... Well,
and once again, I go back to, it's no small thing. God intentionally put the female in the male's life at the beginning of their life to put those things in there that need to be put in there, because he's gonna learn how to be a man from forever forward. Yeah. So for those first, 10 years that you get him, that you have him, really the first 5 years, because if you put him into the school system, then the school system, then he's going to start, being, connected to other little boys. And so, but what I feel like what you're getting to, Molly, is the raising a mighty man of God, raising a kingdom leader. How does a female raise a kingdom leader? And so that's what I want to ask you next is, where do you guys see God working in your son?
I think one thing for us is Bash has just like been a little discontent, and I think it happened kind of around Christmas, and then it just kind of snowballed after that. But just nothing is enough, like he just gets one thing and then he wants the other thing, or he sees something and then he wants all of that thing, or he wants 30 more minutes on the iPad, or 5 more minutes to go to bed, or, and then he'll say things like, you're not a fun mom, or you always say no, and I know that's very developmental and we work through it, but probably since August, we've just been praying for like a content and grateful heart. He has an incredible life, he literally has an incredible life. and he has contentment from God, you know? So I think that's like one thing we've been praying for him. And then the other thing is just that he would have like a curiosity about the things of God.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really expect him to just, I mean, maybe, I don't know, expect him to just be like, oh my gosh, I love everything about Jesus. I want to show me more, you know? He's like a little homebody and doesn't like to go to school or church, but I just want him to like have a curiosity for the things of God. And those things are happening. And it's so fun to like see. I don't even remember what we were talking about the other day, but was not prompted. And he was talking about like the Cars characters and how there's new Cars characters and he doesn't have those cars.
In the movies,
Cars, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that is true. There's a lot of they always make new movies. They always make thanks a lot. And he was like,
it's all about the money, son.
Yeah. He was like, but I do have like 6. Who's the main guy in it? And the main
Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, he was like, but I do have like 6 Lightning McQueens, like one blue one changing color one black one red one. And I was like, yes, you do, and that is a grateful heart, and I love that grateful heart, and God honors that grateful heart. And you know what? Your birthday's coming up, so if you want to put more Lightning McQueen cars on your birthday list, I think that's a great thing to do, you know? And so I think like for me, something I really learned in like the development, and I think this goes for a boy or a girl, but especially as a mom, as a boy, where I just feel like I don't know what to do, just ask God for it, you know?
Yeah,
just
so
take
good.
it to
Always,
God and just be
always.
like, okay, I see this deficit in him, or I see this growth opportunity in him. Help me be, that's a prayer that Damien and I decided to pray, is like, God, show us how to be creative to parent your child. I mean, God created him. He gave him to us to steward. He is part of our DNA. We relate to him in that way. But so many times Damien and I look up and we're like, is that you? Is that me?
Who do I blame that on?
Yeah, what is that? But
who gets credit for that?
But just to give us a creativity to see like what Bash needs in that moment from the Holy Spirit. And so that's what we've been doing. And it's just so fun when they get it, you know, when it clicks and they're like, oh.
And it takes a while. I mean, and I love what
that
you
was
said.
August.
That you're praying about it, and then you're giving opportunities to show it, and then you're using your words to affirm it.
Yeah.
And so it's not a one punch deal. It's several.
I wish.
You come at it from all different directions.
Yeah.
How about you, Mads?
I forgot the question.
Okay, yeah. It says, where do you see God working in Truett's life, in your son's life?
Okay. I agree with the like hunger for things of God. I kind of used to feel intimidated by that, in the sense of like, how do you get them to want to know and love God, you know, more than like to want to play on their technology, or to more than they want to know about whatever, dinosaurs or sports or whatever. And the Lord told me, well, he was like, well, it's kind of just based off of how much you want me, and how much you how much you desire me as like an actual desire. And so making things like talking about like we'll read Bible stories together, and we'll ask like little questions at the end, like, what do you think Noah was feeling when God told him to do this, and God asked him to obey, and that was really hard, and it felt really weird. And so, and I will say something, a revelation that I'll get from their little Jesus Storybook Bible or whatever. I'll say like, wow, I would feel like really scared to obey God and build a big ark like that. But when we were on the other side of it and we were like living in freedom, I would feel really excited, you know? And like that's how, and then they'll share different revelations. And so just kind of, and I'm seeing that also work, like Mollie is saying, just seeing like that they're hungry for God. They're asking me questions about like, why is this happening? Why did God do this? What is this story? What's going on here? Or even asking me questions, like different questions about praying for stuff or different things that they're seeing in there. I feel like it's correlated to like how hungry Larry and I for the things of God, and how much we're like excited to go to church and excited to be a part of community and excited to be in life group and excited to do discipleship groups, like excited to live on mission, excited to do this stuff and have like not like, okay, get ready, we're going, you know, just like having like our posture hearts, they're like noticing. Right. And I'm seeing that God is working in that and making him really curious for the things of God, which is fun and exciting.
Yeah, that's good. As I go back into my mind and think of my little boys, but you guys, I just remember once too being intimidated by that, like how do I get enough Bible stories in them, and how do we and everything I present them, I want to make sure that it's got Jesus at some element. It's somewhere, somehow, it's all tied to Jesus, but as it boils down to it, as I think about it, as you're talking, I'm thinking Jesus is your best friend. And I remember that with you guys, that Jesus was just a part of our life. He was just our best friend. And what is super cool about that with little kids is that they don't have to, their little minds are basically blank, and whatever we write on them, they get. And so to have an imaginary best friend, cool.
Yeah.
It's not like this is hard. It's hard to, I'm going to talk to somebody and get their answer because I can't hear from them. No, teach them to hear what God has to say. Teach them what God's voice sounds like. And so I remember that even with you guys just having to.
Well, and we were just saying this, I think it was last night or in the car together, Mal and I were that we literally create the reality, and that's like a big burden, but also so cool at the same time. And like, great, we create everything that they love and that's real to them. And so I even just like Bash, he has a different language than like him and Truett have a similar language because both of their parents love God. But like to him, like we call at our church, we call our small group circles, and there's no questions asked like, oh, mom's going to circle. Oh, where's dad? Dad's at circle, or, oh, mom's at prayer night, or, oh, on Tuesdays we go to prayer night. They go to worship, they spend time with God, time with Jesus, TWJ, like their world is because we're creating like realities of the kingdom. And so even just like saying to Bash, well, did you ask God? And he might be like, well, I don't even know how to do that. But then he's being asked the question, well, did you ask God?
It's the beginning.
It's the beginning.
Like,
it's setting the reality for them.
We had a moment a couple weeks ago. It was just one. Maybe it happened like 3 times, but it was like 7:30, and Truett probably woke up at 7, and he woke up, got dressed, and spent time with God, and came in our room, and was like, Mom, I woke up at 7. I'm dressed. I spent time with God. God told me today to obey you and obey Dad and take care of my sisters. And
you're like, you're right. He did say that. I confirm that's that word.
I was still in bed. Like I was not awake. I had not gotten up. I had not spent time with God. And Larry and I were laughing. Larry was dressed and ready and had spent time with God. And we were laughing, and we were like, we didn't like tell him. We didn't say like, hey, wake up, like get dressed, spend time with God. Eventually in our day we tell him that, but this time we hadn't told him that. He just had seen it happen so many times, and we had created this reality for him. Like that's what we do. We wake up, we get dressed, we meet with God, and then we go throughout our day. And he just did it himself. And we were Larry and I kind of like gave each other like a fist bump. We're like, I don't know what happened there, but
do we get credit for
awesome.
that? Well, so then to take that, the reality that you've built, and now transition it to how is society making it harder to raise boys? And I mean, and how have you seen that played out? And I understand your kids have not been introduced much to society. They're still in their little Christian school, and they're homeschooled, and they're in their little church world, and they go to your small groups and your circles, and so they get exposed to it a lot. But what are you even seeing when it comes to maybe technology or the commercials on the games of the football, or the movies that they're being? I mean, I remember when you guys were little and being concerned about
Pocahontas.
I mean, because the willow grandma who I love now, I'm like, are you kidding me? The willow grandma tree and me, we are one. But back then, it's like, oh, that's magical and scary, whatever. It was so dumb. But anyway, what are you guys seeing in society that's making it hard to raise men, mighty men of God? I mean, leaders of homes.
Bash the other day said shut up to me in the car, and we don't know.
Which is hard because shut up could mean like shut up.
It could mean all kinds of
There's
things.
There's like 12 different meanings to shut up now.
And Dad I told Mom and Dad they were coming to his defense, and they were like, well, in Princess Diaries, it means like shut up, gee whiz, golly wolly. And I was like, so no, cool. Guys, he straight up told me to shut up.
Stop talking in a rude way.
Your grandson. But I asked him, and it shocked me. And I just was like, buddy, do you know what that means? Where did you hear that? And it was so crazy. He was eating like a little snack bag of popcorn, and he covered his face with it, and he did not want to engage or have a conversation. And Damien was like, well, how were you acting? I was like, I was calm.
Convicting, condemning, judgmental.
I promised. I was like, and I told Bash, I was like, buddy, I'm not mad at you. You are not going to get in trouble. I just am really curious about where you heard that and like what you think it even means. And he just like the shame and guilt immediately took over, and he like literally, and it was so cool because afterwards we actually got to talk about Adam and Eve, and we had just read that story about how they covered their bodies, and he didn't understand that aspect of the story, but now he did. And when I finally pulled it all out of him, he said, I thought it was cool. I think it's cool. And I don't know where he heard it, although multiple times the rest of that week, Damien and I both caught ourselves saying, shut up, not to like each other, but just like in a funny way, like, or we were repeating a story. But so that alone is
Wait,
just
you have to
like,
tell the story about what Sebastian said to Damien.
oh, well, like Madeline and I both do this, but we, like, if they are not life-giving with their words or say a bad word, which that's Bash's first bad word he's ever said, we wash their mouths out with this essential oil called Thieves.
It's like a disinfectant oil, but it's good. It's like
People are going to come for us. It's safe.
It cleans their mouth, but it boosts their
But
immune
also, it'd
system.
be like the same as washing it out with soap. You know, like we want life-giving words in our mouth. We
So
want
we
to
gotta
clean
wash
it
the
out.
bad
Yeah.
It kind of
dirty out.
burns their tongue.
Yeah,
a
it's
little,
not
so
great.
It's like a little stink.
But it also keeps them from being sick. So it's double bonus. But we told Bash that would be his consequence if we heard him say it or if another adult told us he said it. And that has happened to him maybe 2 other times when he hasn't been life-giving. And so Damien was telling me a story when we were getting Bash ready for bed and said the word shut up. And I was like, babe. And Bash goes, Mom, are you going to wash Dad's mouth out with Thieves? And I go, I don't know, babe. Am I? And he goes, I don't know. Are you? We were all 3 of us were trying to figure out the best situation.
Okay, we're adults. Do we have to live by the wait?
Dad finally was like, buddy, Mom and I will talk about this after you go to bed. Thank you. But it was so cool because he was like, well, thank you for like keeping me
us.
accountable. Yeah. But all that to say is like Bash, he finally got to the point and I couldn't even be mad at him. He was like, I thought it was cool. And so I just think, and like this is another example is I got like Beyond Yoga is a brand and they sell workout clothes and I got a pamphlet in the mail and Bash is such a little collector. He loves to collect newspapers and cut them out and like paper. He loves paper. He's a little organizer. So all of our excess mail he always wants to keep but those girls were like in bras and leggings and I said
So basically naked.
yeah, and I was like, you can't have that one because you know it's not. We're not going to look at that with our eyes, and I don't wear this brand, so we're going to put it in the trash. And I found it in his room, and it wasn't about the girls. It was because he wanted it was a tri-folded paper, and he thought that the tri-fold, and he told me I want to fold it up, but I just said to him, I was like, buddy, the heart of that in your room is inviting something that we don't do in our house. And I told Damien about it and Damien talked to him. And so even just stuff like that, I'm like,
oh, he's 4.
He's 4.
And you've got to be on the front lines
and
of that.
they're so sensitive to it. I mean, and like, even if we watch Do Perfect on YouTube, there's ads that I'm like, and Truett and Bash are both so good at it. They turn away. They're like, can we watch now? Can we watch now? And so I think it's just what feels like how it's harder is you're constantly on alert to correct and wash the world to the kingdom because there's no way for them not to be exposed. It's going to happen.
And it's a catch-22 because you can't say, no, you can't have this because as soon as you say no, then the enemy gets a foothold because then it's like, wait a minute, I'm a man. I can. You're a woman. You're telling me no. And so it's a catch-22. You've got to basically win them over. This is how we think and this is why we do. This is why you don't want this.
Right.
And that's hard at 4 and 5 because then you're using so many words as a female and the male is like, stop talking. Wah, 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 wah.
Bash is a little easier because he's super visual like me. Like I'm visual too. So for instance, he has bad dreams and a lot of times he can pinpoint them to something he's seen prior to that. And a lot of times it's from a movie or a commercial. So now he's very quick when we're like, look away. Because even football has, and so I think for me, it's like, it's not I constantly feel on edge because God put him in our family in this time, in this place to be the man that he's going to be. So I trust God's timing in that, but it's more just like, oh my gosh, everything that's on where the ticket's on and I'm like, turn it down. They're talking about something that he can't hear, or we're watching a new Disney movie and they have a relationship that we don't agree with and it just got pushed in there so you're just constantly having to have like rebuttals.
And it's a catch-22 because you have to decide and the Holy Spirit has to tell you for your child, is this the time I'm going to expose my child to this? And how are we going to do that? Or am I going to completely protect them from it and not expose them right now? Yeah. And you have to decide and you have to figure out, okay, now's the time. What are we going to say? How are we going to come down? Where's the Bible on this? Where is there a judgmental statement that we are not going to do this or a hard line in the sand? And then where is it that this is what this society says, but this is what we say?
We do, yeah. And we love people anyways.
And
our
we
first
love people no
commandment
matter
is
what
love,
their choice
so it's like so much.
Yeah.
So much. I would say, honestly, it feels pretty intimidating, like to be like a mom to a boy, and a girl, anyone really, just to be a mom in this time. But mainly, I guess the spiritual, silly answer, but true, is just to pray. And I feel like pray and to instill character over instruction. And so talking about like what is purity of the things that we see or the things that we hear or the things that we talk about. What is integrity? How do we do the right thing when no one's looking? Yeah. What is honor? How do we use our hands and our eyes to honor our siblings and the people around us? What is what is truth? What is lying? What is obedience? Like, what are these different character things that we can instill in them? And then just pray a lot. Like, I feel like I just every day I'm just like, even like shows, I'm like, God, protect them from that, and please protect their dreams, or God, protect their mind and whatever. And then I would say the third place is creating as safe an environment as possible when they are exposed to like the bad dreams. I'm like, that's like Truett's the same way. He wakes up and he'll tell me, Mom, I had a bad dream, or Mom, I'm having scary thoughts. And just instead of being like, just go to bed.
I've seen this, or Mom, I've heard this.
Yes.
Or Mom, what's the deal with the word shut up?
Just or Mom, someone told me not to tell you this. Yes. They tell me all the time, Mom, someone told me not to tell you this. And so, or whatever it was, or Mom, whatever. And just like creating a place where they want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. When they are exposed to something that feels uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be like straight up sin. It can be like just things that make them feel off, that you're the person that they want to talk to. So praying, instilling character, and being a safe place.
Yeah, I love that. And just super practical on that, on the front end of the super practical on the, if someone tells your child, don't tell your parents this, then on the front end, you go ahead and train your children right now. That's I'm the first person you want to tell that to. That's a red flag that those person does not want what's best for you. And so you come tell me right away, because I'm your helper. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take care of you. And so that's good. Okay. It's time for us to wrap this podcast up. We could talk for hours. Is there anything else that you guys want to share about the joys and the delights of raising a mighty man of God?
I would just say, just to view it that way. I was talking to Mom about this on the way drive to Arkansas.
Yes,
it's just
share that.
I mean, I hope I get to have a girl. I might not. Who knows? And if I get to only ever have boys, my thought process in the last year has shifted, and that it's like an honor to raise mighty men of God, and it's an honor to raise mighty women of God too. But
as a female, because a woman, we get a woman,
right?
But to raise a male,
right, and to raise a male that will grow up and get married and honor his wife in a way that's godly, and lead his family in a way that's godly, and like choose godly things over the world, like that is foreign. And in my experience in my current life, I believe there's less of that than godly women. And so, but now in any moment where it's hard with Sebastian, or I feel unequipped, or, just I feel less than or frustrated, I'm like, oh, I have a vision. This is an honor, this is an honor. And the benefit, or the long-term fruit, that's what Madeline's saying, we get to contend and pray for. But I mean, God has asked us to pray like it's going to come to pass. And so that's how I ask God for their life. And so I think for me, it's just like, if you're struggling on being a boy mom in any capacity, whether you have 1 or 10, ask God for a vision, and then that vision will give you the energy and the stamina and the revelation to continue to wake up every day and do it.
Mm-hmm. Mine is maybe more practical. I don't even know if this is answering the question, but mainly I would just say snuggle them and kiss them and like wrestle them and hold them, because it's like even Truett and Bash, they're 4 and 5, and they are big, and they're like almost taller than us, and they're like just getting bigger and taller, and Truett wears a size 11 in kids shoes, and you're just like, wait a minute, I thought you were like a 2-year-old baby, but now you're a kid. And then you look up at Mom's kids, and they're towering over her. Her boys are humongous, and they're huge, almost 200 pounds, And so just any chance that you get to just like, I mean, and they just light up, and even if they try and get away from Mom.
Gosh, wipes my kisses off. And I'm like, you put that back.
Like, you just snuggle him and you just hold him close. Like, almost every time I see Truett, I just like look at him and I say, come here. And I whisper it, come here. And he comes here, and I say, and give him a good kiss, check out his cheek, and he like kind of gets embarrassed. Anyway, so just as a mom, like, it just I don't know, it's just different with your little boys, and you get to snuggle them and hold them and kiss them and be that first interaction of like touch and love and affection.
True
it just like wells up something in you and them anyway. And it's just weird because they'll always be your little boy, even if they're Truett always reminds me. He says, I'll always be your little boy, even if I'm way bigger than you. And it's true. They will. So just like snuggle them. That's all I would say.
Yeah.
Which is funny for me because I actually don't like snuggling.
You're not physical
at all.
touch.
But I just feel like it's so valuable for the moms and the little boys.
Oh, girls, so good. We could talk forever. We could cry. We could laugh. We could do all the things. But we're going to wrap this up. And so all you crazy cool families, parents out there, we invite you to email us with any topics that you want to discuss. I think this was actually one of the topics a question that someone sent in. And then I just want you to know that we are praying for you. We're praying that you have a supernatural bond with your sons, and that you'll have a discipleship relationship like Jesus did with his mom Mary. As he was literally hanging on a cross, he turns
Someone
to,
take care of my mom.
Yeah. No, you, John, you take care of my mom. You take care of her. And so that's the precursor to I'll buy you a house.
Who cares about Joseph? But Mary, I got you.
Anyway, all right. So we love you guys. Go be crazy, crazycoolfamily.com.